everyone has heard of his acting career, but there's a lot about this A-list celeb that might surprise you. From an onstage prince to an unexpected house guest. Here are 15 things you didn't know about Keanu Reeves. Number 15, ROCKSTAR babysitter. It's a well-known fact that his mother, Patricia Taylor, designed costumes for rock stars, including the eyeliner-wearing, horror-inspired Alice Cooper. In February of last year, the actor was featured on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, where he spoke a little bit about his life in Toronto as a toddler. He stated that there was a recording studio down the street from his house, and since his mom was in the biz, she knew a lot of artists who made music there. It may be against most people's maternal instincts to allow a chicken-throwing rock star to watch their kids, but Patricia figured, why not? So this legendary musician babysat little Keanu on a couple of occasions. He also said during the interview that he vaguely remembers there being some fake feces in the fridge. It seems feasible that this trickster Alice Cooper may be to blame for the plastic poop prank. Number 14. Dullest bulb. When Keanu's acting career was starting out, he gained a lot of recognition for portraying less than intelligent characters like Ted in the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure film series, as Todd in the 1989 film Parenthood. Due to these roles, Reeves nearly became typecast for other dim-witted parts. However, luckily for this actor, he received more serious offers such as Don John in the big screen picture of his favorite playwright's work, Much Ado About Nothing, and later on, the leading role was Neo in the Matrix movies. It's safe to say Keanu's abilities stem from beyond this actor's shadow beginnings. Number 13. His sister's fight. Many know that Keanu has faced some hardships in his life, including the difficulties he and his family went through during his younger sister's fight with leukemia. He is very close with Kim, and her battle with the illness had effects on him and his career, especially because she was hospitalized in 2003 shortly after Keanu had dealt with other devastating events. He even postponed the filming for The Matrix Reloaded and rushed to her side when things took a turn for the worse. He helped his sister in every way possible, even proposing that she try doing yoga to keep her mentally and physically strong. After taking his advice, Kim said that it had helped her a great deal. He also spent a lot of money for her to receive treatment in France. The two had been attached at the hip since they were children, and their bond only grew stronger as they entered adulthood. He helped Kim overcome leukemia, which she was eventually cured of, and she kept Keanu focused on his aspirations of stardom. Number 12. Matrix money. His revolutionary role in Neo in The Matrix may be the focal point of Keanu's career, but this superstar isn't in it for the cash. In fact, he has been known to give his earnings right back to his film's various creators. It isn't like he didn't come out richer after shooting concluded, but he helped tremendously in making the movie more successful than it would have been without his assistance. Through this science fiction hit, Reeves made about $35 million, and though that's a significant amount of the green stuff, it's $75 million less than what he could have earned. Instead of keeping the profits to himself, Keanu gave back to the costume designers and special effects team. This inspired the crew to work harder, and the total profits of the sequels were upwards of $1 billion. Plus, this actor didn't stop there. He even purchased motorcycles for all of his stunt performers. Keanu has taken pay cuts for other parts as well, including The Devil's Advocate in 1997 and The Replacements in 2000, so filmmakers could afford to bring in other big-name stars. Number 11. Where Art Thou, Romeo? We've already heard about Keanu's role in Don John in the 1993 film, Much Ado About Nothing. However, did you know that Shakespeare is one of this actor's idols? Reeves has been a fan of the renowned playwright throughout his entire career, even before he stepped into Hollywood. When he was just 15 years old and attending classes in theater school to pursue acting, he made an appearance in a production of the famed play Romeo and Juliet. Keanu played Mercutio, Romeo's adversary in the dramatic story of a young romance gone wrong. The director of the school's play later expressed that Keanu didn't say he wanted to portray this character, but that he needed to. This was the beginning of his success in the world of performing arts. Later on, the actor turned down an $11 million offer to be in the film, Speed 2, Cruise Control, so that he could star in another Shakespeare play. In 1995, Reeves took the lead in the theater production of Hamlet. Opposed to many people's assumptions that he wouldn't do well in the role, Keanu portrayed the prince with the acting ability such as an all-encompassing character deserves. Number 10. Stalkers. Every breath you take, every move you make, every single day, every word you say. Look out, Keanu, because some of your number one fans are watching you. Literally. It may be old news, but this star has to keep his eyes peeled for some stalkers who have already trespassed on his property. Back in 2014, Reeves dealt with a couple of cases breaking and entering by two different women within just a couple days of one another. The first occurrence took place while the actor was still at home. He awoke before dawn because of some ruckus he heard coming from his library. Was it a mouse? Was it an in-home librarian reshelving books? The answer is no. It was a 40-year-old female stranger. After contacting police, the woman was taken to a facility because she wasn't in her right mind. The second incident happened when Keanu wasn't at his house. This time, the lady wasn't interested in books, or clothes for that matter. His cleaning team called the cops, but it took a while for them to act. The woman managed to get a shower in and swim naked in Reeves' pool before law enforcement arrived. Hopefully, the actor's chlorine levels were up to par. Number 9. Slappin' the bass. Keanu Reeves' acting skills are admired by fans everywhere, but that's not all this talented guy is capable of. Did you know that this star is a musician too? In the mid-1990s, he and Rob Mailhouse started the band ROCKSTAR. It all began in the year 1991 during a simple trip to the market. In the midst of running errands, Reeves stumbled upon the fellow actor. He was wearing Red Wings hockey attire. He took notice and sparked up a conversation since he was a fan of the sport and had even played as the goalie in his high school team. The two soon became close friends and began making music together. A year later, Greg Miller became their lead vocalist and guitarist, and just 3 years after that, he left the band, and Brett Domrose took over. The group went with the name Small Fecal Matter at first, but eventually decided to go with Dogstar, probably after realizing that most people don't want to listen to excrement. Keanu played electric bass in the band, and they even opened up for David Bowie in 1995. They stayed together until about 2002 before going their separate ways. Number 8. Author. Is there anything this guy can't do? Now that we know Keanu's talents reach far above his acting ability, is it any surprise that this Shakespeare-loving, bass-playing artist is also a writer? Not really. This goalie-turned-actor-turned-musician-turned-author wrote poetic yet comedic descriptions of Alexander Grant's drawings in the book, Ode to Happiness. The story illustrates the struggles of everyday life in a somewhat amusing picture book made for adults. The work has good ratings online, and you can even purchase it on Amazon for about $600. Not many people would be willing to fork out that much dough on a book unless they're in college, but hey, if you're a big Keanu fan, it may be a buy you're willing to make. Number 7. Dropout. Keanu Reeves set his sights on performing arts when he was just a teenager. In fact, regular schooling just wasn't this actor's forte. Besides his short stint with hockey, he never found much interest in typical high school life. Academics didn't mean much to him, and his nonchalant ways showed in his work. Plus, he has dyslexia, which made typical lesson plans more of a challenge. Reeves attended 4 different high schools within just 5 years. He was even expelled from one of the institutes, which was a school of arts, for bad behavior. When he was enrolled in the Avondale Secondary Alternative School, he worked on his acting career while trying to obtain a diploma. However, Keanu ultimately decided, and he dropped out. Most of the time, failing to graduate doesn't work out well for people. But for this talented star, it pushed his career in the right direction. Number 6. Hardships. Although his actor has had a lot of success throughout his career, his life has by no means been without difficulties. We've already discussed his little sister's battle with leukemia, but that isn't the only hardship the Matrix star has faced. River Phoenix, the brother of 4 siblings, fellow actor and friend of Keanu, was lost in 1993 to an overdose. The two had worked together in films like I Love You to Death in 1990 and My Own Private Idaho in 1991. They were very close, and Reeves needed time to grieve Phoenix's passing, so he took time to himself to mourn. Then about 5 years later, he met Jennifer Syme. He fell in love with her, and they were going to have a daughter together. Sadly, the little girl was stillborn. They struggled to stay together after the loss of their baby, but eventually they separated. After a year and a half after they split up, Syme was in a car accident and passed away. This series of heartbreaking events had lifelong effects on Reeves, but he found a way to push through and continue pursuing his aspirations. Number 5. Get to the chopper. In this case, we're talking about motorcycles, not helicopters. He's done just about everything else throughout his career, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that Reeves is also a passionate motorcyclist. He's always been interested in riding bikes, but when it came to modifying the machines, he had a bit more trouble. So with the help of fellow motorbike enthusiast and builder, Gard Hollinger, he discovered a way to make his dream come true. Together they founded the ARC Motorcycle Company, a place that makes top-notch customizable bikes. However, these can be personalized through their unique process, leaving each customer with a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. From playing bass to making bikes, it seems there's nothing Keanu Reeves isn't capable of. Number 4. Alias. We've all come to know the superstar by his birth-given name, but when he was first starting out in the acting world, his agent told him that Keanu might sound a bit too unusual. Its origin is Hawaiian, and the literal meaning of his name is the cool breeze, which refers to the wind that comes in over the mountains of the Pacific Ocean. So in his early films, he is credited under the alias Keanu Reeves. Not a surprising choice since his middle name is Charles, but this moniker didn't last too long, and nowadays he's almost exclusively referred to as Keanu. However, there is a song by the Courtneys that is titled with the actor's old nickname, so apparently it left an impression on some early 1990s fans. Number 3. Philanthropy. Not only has this actor given back to the film's creators, but he's also donated money to charities and has proven himself an all-around nice guy in many different ways. Because of his sister's fight with cancer, Reeves has given a lot of his profits to organizations dedicated to helping people who are battling the disease. He even set up his own nonprofit but left his name out of it to stay anonymous. Keanu has helped several other foundations including Stand Up to Cancer and PETA. He also gives to SCORE, which helps injured athletes. Plus, this star's everyday life is all about caring for other people. He's been seen keeping the homeless company, and once drove a woman home because her car broke down on the side of the road. It wasn't a short trip either, it was 50 miles out of his way. It's safe to say that this man is a true philanthropist. Number 2. Neighbors. They say birds of a feather flock together, so it shouldn't be shocking that Keanu Reeves has some A-list neighbors. He lives in Hollywood, surrounded by stars on all sides, one of which is the fellow actor Leonardo DiCaprio. Since there are a few of these heartthrobs living near one another, the street has been dubbed Punk Alley. It sounds like a place a lot of fangirls may want to take a tour, or apparently some stalkers as we previously mentioned. Number 1. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters, of course. On Jimmy Kimmel Live back in 2014, Reeves revealed that he'd seen one of these chilling beings of the afterlife. He said as a child in New York, he was hanging out in his family's new apartment when he saw something peculiar. A jacket floated across the living room's empty doorway. Keanu stated that there was no head or body in sight, it was just the coat. It looks like this actor can go ahead and add psychic medium to his long list of talents. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.